Well, good morning, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here at the Ruttenberg Library. How is everyone doing? It's been a few weeks since I've made a video, and so I wanted to make a video today and have plans to make a couple more this afternoon. My daughter is going to go to the splash pad with a friend, and they're going to go play in the water while it's summer and still warm before school gets going. And so her and my wife are going to be out of the house, and so after lunch, I'm going to make a couple more videos. But right now, what I'm going to do, just to break the ice and getting my video making going again, I'm going to do a book haul. Now, this is a fairly large stack of books because it's been 3 to 4 weeks since I talked to you last. And I've been a couple of times to the bookstore and I've picked up a few items, of course, and I wanted to share those with you. I'm super excited about this stack. I hope you enjoy this. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So I went to Books Revisited, and this was a couple of weeks ago, probably almost 3 weeks ago, and 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Anyway, picked up some stuff. Didn't really intend to pick up a lot, but I picked up, 5 of them here. And so the first one on here is a paperback, small paperback, and it's from Howard Fast, and it's April Morning. Now, this is a book that is about the opening shots of the American Revolution. I was super excited to find this because I've been reading some Revolution stuff here of late. This was originally a 1961 story. This copy's 1970, but I've been reading some Revolution stuff. I read American Colonies by Alan Taylor, and of course at the very end it was leading up to those opening shots. And now I am reading, I got a buddy read going with Peg on called Our First Civil War by H.W. Brands, and it's doing the build up to the opening shots and talking about the splits in the colonies itself, of the attitudes, whether we want to be British or we want to be American, the divide. And that's really what this book is all about. April Morning. It's about and I cannot think of the kid's name. I've read it. It's been a while though. Well, anyway, the main character in the book, him and his dad have some different opinions on how things should go. And anyway, on the morning of the opening shots of the Revolution in Lexington, he's going to be involved in basically the chasing the British back to Boston. He's going to be heavily involved in that part. And it just goes through the mindset of what it was like to be a teenage kid. And I can't think of exactly how old he was. He was a teenager, but just trying to break from his dad's, well, just like all teenagers do, getting out of the nest, and he's getting ready to go through that point in life, and he's got this big decision to make. Am I American or am I British, and what do I do? And so, excellent book. Highly recommended. I read this quite a while back, a few years ago, and really liked it. And I have a crappy copy of it. And so this is, like, if you notice, this is like in brand new condition, almost like it's never been read. I mean, the pages are slightly colored just because of age, but the book is in excellent condition. So I was really glad to pick that up. And the copy I read, I'm pretty positive was a copy I had at school on the bookshelf. And so I don't even think it was my copy. And so I'm happy to have that in my library now. Next one was a paperback, Ken Follett's Whiteout. Been trying to collect Ken Follett books. There's Ken Follett. He writes thriller, suspense stuff. He has some historical fiction that I really like, and saw this one on the shelf for next to nothing, and I think for $1. And yeah, I've been trying to collect his works, and happy to have that on the shelf. Another item that I was tickled pink to pick up was Stephen Crane's The Red Badge of Courage. Now, I have this, and when I get, for those of you who don't know, we're in the process of getting ready to move, at the end of the month, and we'll be getting into our new house, and I'll be able to put my bookshelves up and display all my books. I'm so pumped about that. Our house is going to be big enough that I can have my library in a few different places, and I'll be able to have everything out on display, and I won't basically I won't have things boxed up. I won't have things. I hope to not have things once I get all the bookshelves and everything, not to have them double stacked and stacked on top of each other and everything. I'm going to have it nice and pretty and neat, or at least that's the plan anyway. And anyways, with that being said, I have quite a few books that aren't on display. They're put away, and one of them was The Red Badge of Courage, and I have a old school paperback. It's like one of the mass markets they would have sold to schools. And anyway, I love this book. I really, really enjoy it, and I found this modern library edition, and very happy to have it. Nice hardback copy. And so my wife said, "Do you really need that if you've already got it?" I said, "I will get rid of the paperback." Yes, I do need it. So along with that, another favorite of mine, I've never actually read this book, but Jim Harrison's Legends of the Fall. This is the movie cover. I absolutely love this movie. I have this movie at home. I've watched it I don't know how many times. Matter of fact, when I teach World War I, there's a pretty epic scene on the battlefront where the little brother and is it Tristan, I believe is his name, are, well, actually all three of the brothers are in World War I together. And anyway, he goes off to fight, and this guy's injured, can't go help. This guy goes out, running out to the battlefield. Now, how, in reality, how well he would have been able to actually do what he did, that's probably Hollywood. But Tristan's character goes out to try to save his brother, and his brother, in classic World War I fashion. So I use this, it's just a small snippet that I use in my classroom, but it shows what the battlefront was like and the new weapons and everything. But anyway, the little brother gets caught up in barbed wire, and the Germans set up there, and there's gas all through the forest. And so you've got the barbed wire, the gas, and then they're setting up a machine gun, and of course he gets shot and everything. But and I close it right there because he kind of goes berserk and has a pretty bloody scene in there. I cut it off before that happens. But anyway, great World War I scene that I use in my classroom. So I'm going to read this one because it's a real short little synopsis. It says, "Thus begins Jim Harrison's Legends of the Fall, a monumental work that is epic, stirring, and able to touch our most primal emotions. From the raw, stark beauty of Montana to the blood-drenched battlefields of France, Harrison's powerful tale looks at men fighting for justice in a world gone mad. In this now famous story and the two other novellas included in this volume, Jim Harrison writes with incomparable brilliance and fury about a ferocious love of life." And of course, there's a love story that goes through this, and you've got the father on the ranch who's trying to hold the whole family together. And anyway, great movie. Really liked the movie, and so I was happy to pick up the book. I've never read the book before, so I've had that happen this last year or so. As I've been watching BookTube, I've been realizing that most movies come from books, and I didn't realize quite so much, how much that actually happens. And so I've been really trying to keep my eyes peeled for stuff like that, and I've been picking up, just copies of stuff. Some of them I was aware of, but some of them I was not, and then just listening to different booktubers. And so I've read some book-to-movie items, and I've really enjoyed them. Jaws was one of them. I was about almost a year ago when I got that and read that last October, November, right in there, and I really enjoyed that. And then there's been a handful of them, and so I've been trying to do that. What was the one? The Western for John Wayne, Rooster Cogburn. Oh no, I'm going blank. True Grit. I did that with True Grit also, and I really like that book. So I've been trying to do that, saw that, super excited, had to buy it. All right, moving right along. America Afire, Jefferson, Adams, and the Revolutionary Election of 1800 by Bernard Weisberger. Very happy to have that. Very controversial election. It was the third election in U.S. history because Washington was elected in the first two times we had an election. And so this is the first time Washington's not a candidate. He had dropped out of the running. I said that. No, it's the fourth. I am so sorry. He got elected the first two times. Then Adams was elected. And then, so take Washington clear out of the equation. That was a misspoken. Adams is running for re-election, and Jefferson is the opposite party. So this is the first time that we see two opposing parties. Really, we've had opposing parties, but it's been the Federalists all through. And so we're going to actually switch parties, and it was a very controversial election, pretty close, and friendship that got split in the process. All right, so this was one that Books Revisited had saved for me. They had it on the Facebook page, and if you can leave a message, save that for me, and then next time you're in, you can pick it up. And this was the Battle of Wilson's Creek, and so I'm a Missouri boy, and so this was kind of one of those local battles. This is by Edwin Bierce, and it is, let's see, N.C. Wythe's painting Battle of Wilson's Creek. That must be that right there. N.C. Wythe, pretty famous painter. Let's see. Published by Wilson Creek National Battlefield Foundation. And so Edwin Bierce, most people who are Civil War readers will recognize that name, and he's written some pretty good Civil War books, and this is a smaller one. This is only, let's see, for text, it's 137 pages. Very, very thin volume, but since it's Edwin Bierce, I was very happy to pick that up and add that to my collection. And then hopefully sometime in the near future, in the next year or two, I can really dive into Bierce's work. All right, the next one that I saw on the Facebook of books they had out, and I kind of check that Facebook page periodically because I can't always get down there. It's an hour and 15 minutes away, and so I'm limited when I can get down there. Although I leave enough book hauls, you would think I'm down there every day. I'm not. But I've been reading, stuff on the Revolution, and then I was doing a buddy read earlier this year with Patrice Jones, and we read Sam Adams's biography by Stacy Schiff. And one of the things, and I'd read also some earlier, a year or two ago, and John Lawrence's name comes up over and over again. And I was like, man, I need to find a biography on John Lawrence. And lo and behold, on the Facebook page, this popped up, and I didn't ask him to reserve it, but when I got there, it was still on the table out front, and so I picked it up, John Lawrence in the American Revolution by Gregory D. Massey. And so I was very happy to pick that up. And it is, I haven't been telling you all of the publishers. Sorry about that. University of South Carolina, 2015. So I'll read this one, and then I probably won't read anymore just because of time, so this doesn't end up an hour-long video. Earning his reputation for reckless bravery in a succession of major battles and sieges, John Lawrence distinguished himself as one of the most zealous, self-sacrificing participants in the American Revolution. A native of South Carolina and a son of Henry Lawrence, president of the Continental Congress, John devoted his entire adult life to securing American independence. In this comprehensive biography, Gregory D. Massey recounts the young Lawrence wartime record, a riveting tale in its own right, and finds that even more remarkable than his military escapades were his revolutionary ideas concerning the rights of African Americans. Massey relates Lawrence's desperation to fight for his country once revolution had begun. begun. A law student in England, he joined the war effort in 1777, leaving behind his English wife and an unborn child he would never see. Massey tells of the young officer's devoted service as General George Washington's aide-de-camp and interaction with prominent military and political figures and conspicuous military efforts at Brandywine, Germantown, Monmouth, Newport, Charleston, Savannah, and Yorktown. Massey also recounts Laurens' survival of 4 battle wounds in 6 months as a prisoner of war, his controversial diplomatic mission to France, and his close friendship with Alexander Hamilton. Unlike other prominent Southerners, Laurens believed blacks shared a similar nature with whites, and he formulated a plan to free slaves in return for their service in the Continental Army. Massey explores the personal, social, and cultural factors that prompted Laurens to diverge so radically from his peers and to raise vital questions about the role African Americans would play in the new republic. So anyway, very, very happy to have that. That'll go very well with my studies. And what's really great is this book is like brand new condition. I would doubt that anybody has read this book. It looks like it is untouched. There are no finger smudges. The pages are very crisp. You can tell it's got its perfect right angle. Nothing's dog-eared. The corners are pretty sharp. So I'm very happy to have that. It's in very good condition. All right, so with my 7th graders, we talk about World War II. And so this next one's a hardback that goes right with one of our units. It goes perfect with one of our units because we do a World War I unit, and then we do, obviously our World War II unit. But in between there, I do a little bit shorter unit, but it talks about the rise of the dictators. With the effects of World War I, how that led to the rise of the dictators, all of the economical situation and everything going on, and then how that really just leads right into World War II. So this next one is The Dark Valley, a panorama of the 1930s by Pierce Brendan. And so you'll notice we got Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini, our big 3 of Europe on that front cover. And so I'm not going to read the inside cover because it's about those three guys and what happens in Europe. And this is from Alfred A. Knopf, and it's a 2000 book, hardcover. Very happy. It's a library discard, but that's okay. A lot of these big histories, as many of you know, you history readers know, these big histories, when they're library discards, in a lot of cases, especially if it's a little bit newer book, and I would consider 2000 for the library a newer book, those, when they're discarded, tend to be in fairly good shape, and because a lot of times the reason they're getting discarded is they just weren't read, and so I am happy to have that. All right, so the next 6 books are the last in the stack here are from the thrift store. They're from Thrift World in St. Joe. It's not a new store. It was newer to me a couple of months ago, and I didn't realize it even existed. And they've got a whole wall full of books, and you can find, I've been in there, 3 times now, I think, and you can find stuff almost every time you go in there. I think they've got a pretty regular, for the most part, a pretty regular turnover, and there's always new stuff being put on the shelves, and so I found 6 books there, and very happy to have them. So these first 3 are from John Mortimer. I have never read John Mortimer, but he comes with a lot of people on BookTube talking about him. I want to go out on a limb, and I didn't go back and double check this, so maybe I'm wrong, but I believe Todd from Todd's Bursting Bookcase, I believe he talked about John Mortimer a little bit, and I've heard other people talk about Rumple, and so I got 3 Rumple novels. Rumple Misbehaves. I got Rumple Rests His Case, and then I've got Rumple and the Penge Bungalow Murders. And this one's actually a signed copy. And all three of these were $2 a piece. They are hardbacks. They are in absolutely perfect condition. These are three books that look like they never got read. They sat on a shelf and just made the shelf look good. They're all from Viking Press, by the way. And should I read? Let's see. Viking Press. This one's a 2004. I mean, they're fairly new copies. I mean, if you're talking in the used book world, they're fairly new copies. So I was really happy to add those. I'm going to give that a try, give John Mortimer a try. Let's see here. This next one, these next two look like they came out of, and there were some other ones on the shelf there at Thrift World. It looked like somebody had in their library a history section, and Jefferson must have been one of that person's interests when they donated the books. And so this is Jefferson and Civil Liberties, The Darker Side by Leonard W. Levy. And very happy to have this. I did a buddy read with some people, and I know Vin at Revenant Reads is fascinated by Jefferson. And I thought when I was picking these up, I thought, boy, I bet this would be right up his alley. It's from Elephant Paperbacks. I'm not even familiar with that one. Out of Chicago, Ivan R.D. Incorporated. And this first one is 1963, originally 1963, and this copy is 1989. Now, this copy right here is heavily marked in. It's got underlines and stuff like that, which I really don't like, but I thought this could be a placeholder until the time comes when I could find a better copy of it. And then the next one is another Jefferson book. This is The Domestic Life of Thomas Jefferson by Sarah Randolph. Really cool cover, and it's a wraparound cover. Okay, I like that. That is Monticello on the cover there. If you didn't recognize it, that's Monticello, Jefferson's home. And let's see here. It says, The Domestic Life of Thomas Jefferson, compiled from family letters and reminiscences by his great-granddaughter, Sarah Randolph. So this is published for the Thomas Jefferson Memorial Foundation by the University Press of Virginia out of Charlottesville. And this was printed in originally 1978. This printing is a 1990. And so I've been fortunate enough to, I've been to Monticello twice. Got to do the one time they had ended up being closed, and then the second time I got to do the full tour. Thoroughly enjoyed the tour. If you ever get a chance to do that, any of those old mansions out in Virginia, old colonial Virginia, very worth looking at. I've been to Monticello. I've been to Mount Vernon. Almost got to go to what was it called? James Madison's Montpelier, is that right? I got to go there, but it was closed, so I didn't get to go. I mean, I got to go, but I didn't get to go. That was my family's vacation when I was, 15, not quite 16 yet, and we went out to Virginia, and we got to see quite a few things, but at the same time, we got to see quite a few things closed, because that was in the era before you could, just look it up on your phone. And we got like 15 minutes late to how many places? There was Monticello, Montpelier, Ford's Theater. There was just several places out east that we got to go, and we were like 15 minutes before or after they closed. And that was very frustrating, needless to say. But anyway, I got the privilege of being able to go back when I was 18 and tour the place, and that was a really, really neat experience. And the last one that I've got here, another $2 hardback, is Campaigns of the Civil War by Walter Geer. And I've actually showed this one on the channel before because I have like a big edition of it. I recognized the cover, but my problem was when I was there, I could not remember for the life of me if I actually had the book, if I ended up buying it or not. I could not remember. And so I just went ahead, it was just a couple bucks. I went ahead and bought it anyway. And I've got the big tall version is what I've got, the coffee table version. And this basically goes through just the different campaigns and battles. I mean, it's a Civil War history. And it comes from Konecki and Konecki, which is they produce a lot of Civil War stuff. Again, by Walter Geer, and it is 1926 is what this says, although I would question whether this book is 1926. Okay, I don't see another date. I don't think this is a 1926 book. If so, it's in really good shape. There's no way this is a 1926 book, but that was the original date that it was published. Maybe later I can figure that out. But anyway, that was the last one I picked up. So, BookTube. That's been my collection of books for the last few weeks. Wanted to make sure to make a video for you and get that out to you so you can see what I've been adding to the library, and then hopefully in maybe a couple of months I will have the full library all put together at home in my new home, and maybe I can start some shelf tours, and I think that would be awesome. I haven't done that, and I haven't done shelf tours in quite a while, and we're due for some shelf tours here in the Ruttenberg Library. So hopefully I'll be able to do that in the coming months. I don't know how fast I'll be able to, because I might not be able to buy the shelving immediately like I'm going to need to get all of my collections put out like they should be. But anyway, BookTube, hope everyone's doing well. Tell me how you're doing. Have you picked up any new books? The weather here, it had been hot last week, really hot, and then this week it's been cooler, but muggy. It's rained, and then it gets kind of warm, and then the humidity picks up. Last night I mowed the lawn, and it had rained in the afternoon till, I don't know, 2 o'clock-ish, and I started mowing at, it was 6:30, 7 o'clock. I thought there'd been enough sunshine, or the wind had blew enough that it would have dried it out. That grass was wet and heavy, and my mower struggled a little bit. So needless to say, later today, I got to go up to school here in a little bit and work for a few hours, just getting my classroom all put together. 'Tis the time of year. I like to spend the first week of August going up in the mornings, and then the second week I go for the full day. I kind of gradually get longer and longer at school to kind of get myself acclimated again to my school day. But I'm on the morning shift right now this week, and so I'm going to go up for a few hours, and hopefully this afternoon, this evening, I'm going to be able to, I'm going to run the weed eater. I hate doing weed eating. I usually only do it every other or every third mowing, and because I just can't stand doing it, but I need to go do it, and then I'm going to have to rake because it was thick and heavy. I'm going to have to rake, and I think I'll just throw it on my garden and mix it in between the tomato plants and keep the ground from drying out. Although right now I don't think we have to worry about the ground drying out. We've had plenty of rain. The Lord's been good in sending some rain. So anyway, I think that's about all I got. And I got to get up to school, like I said, and get working. So BookTube, I hope you have a great day. Great, heading towards the weekend. We're almost there. Until next time, happy reading.